How far away you there now? You are driving. You said we should just wait for you by the venue. Okay, to park. Well, maybe they meet for venue carry. Maybe they meet for the venue. We just go for you now, but very good. I'll wait for you at the venue. Thank you, sir. Which place? Okay, it's okay. I'm coming. It's okay.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, just before we commence this session, may I please crave on the audience to please be upstanding as we take the national anthem of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. We sing at the count of 2. 1, 2. Arise, O compatriots, Nigeria's calling to serve our fatherland whose past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and mind, one nation bound in freedom, peace and unity. As we remain standing, we'll take the second stanza of the anthem that will serve as our opening prayer. O God of creation, direct our noble course, guide our leaders right, help our youth the truth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and living just and true. Great lofty heights attain, to build a nation where peace and justice reigns. Thank you very much. You will please resume your seats. Very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Our amiable Director General and Chief Executive, National Space Research and Development Agency, NASDA Obasanjo Space Center, Dr. Halilu Ahmad Shaba, Directors of the Space Agency present, Directors from various Centers of Excellence of the Space Agency present, Directors from the Laboratories of Excellence of the Space Agency present at this meeting, the National Coordinator of the Presidential Executive Order 5, His Royal Majesty right here in our midst, the Odijomo Folabi Oladimeji, Captains of Industry, relevant stakeholders, and also industry players, very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen of the press. It is my singular honor and rare privilege to welcome you all to this auspicious day, marking day number 2 of the ongoing 7th Expo on Science, Technology and Innovation, powered and delivered by the Federal Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. For those of us who were here yesterday, you would agree with me that it was a very wonderful event, and we have His Excellency, the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who was ably represented by his Chief of Staff, who declared this Expo 2023 officially opened. Today we are here to mark a very significant event, marking NASDA's Day, where the activities, the programs, the events, the trajectory, the historical perspective of the Space Agency will be brought to fore. And today, ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and privilege to welcome those of us who are not very familiar with the Obasanjo Space Center. Today you have the opportunity to listen to us, what we do, our achievements and our trajectory. The theme for this year's Expo remains actualizing effective diversification of the Nigerian economy through science, technology and innovation. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, while we await the arrival of the Honorable Minister, Federal Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, who will be joining us very soon with members of his delegation, we just have to start for the want of time. So please, at this point, permit me to make these introductions while we await the arrival of the Honorable Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular honor to introduce to you the third substantive Director General of the leading space agency in Africa, the National Space Research and Development Agency, NASDA, Obasanjo Space Center, one man who is poised and committed to lead the space economy and galvanize all he has to ensure that the space agency contributes its quota towards national development. Please put your hands together as I introduce Dr. Halilu Ahmad Shaba, the Director General and Chief Executive, National Space Research and Development Agency, NASDA. Thank you so much, sir, for being here with us. And please let me run through a biology of the directors we have from the Space Agency, the headquarters, the centers, and of course the laboratories of excellence who are all here to ensure that we give the nation Nigeria the best as far as space science and Technology is concerned. And so now, in no particular order, let me introduce our directors, and then we will please applaud and appreciate them for being here with us. We have right here the Director of Policy, Planning and Research of the Space Agency in the person of Dr. Francis Duben Chisler. Please put your hands together for him. You're highly welcome, sir. We have the Director Engineering and Space Systems, Dr. Olufemi Agbola. Please put your hands together for him. We have the Director of Strategic Space Applications, Dr. Matthew Adekboju is here with us. Please put your hands together for him. We also have the Director of Ground and Mission Control, Dr. Halidu Ibrahim. Please put your hands together for him. We have the Director Media and Corporate Communications, the spokesperson of the agency, Dr. Felix Babatunde Ali. A round of applause please for him. We have the Director Center for Satellite Technology Development, one of the activity centers that is co-located at the agency's headquarters, Engineer Dr. Umar Sadiq. Please put your hands together for him. You're highly welcome, sir. We equally have the Director Center for Space Transport and Propulsion at Lagos State, Dr. Olusegun Shebi is here with us. Please put your hands together for him. Equally, we have the Director for the Center for Basic Space Science and Astronomy, Enugu State. Please put your hands together for Dr. Bonaventure Okere. We have the Director of Mission Planning and Satellite Data Management, Dr. Times Kaduri James. We have the Director in charge of procurement of the agency, Mr. Musa James. Please put your hands together for him. We have the Director of Space Incubation and Development, Dr. Haruna Mohammed. Put your hands together for him. Thank you so much, sir, for coming. We have the Director of African Regional Center for Space Science and Technology Education in English in Ile-Ife, Professor Babatunde Rabiu. Please put your hands together for him. We have the Director of Accounts and Finance Space Agency, Mr. Niri Iwaye. Let's put your hands together for him. We have the Director of our Laboratory after Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, Dr. Kenneth Oshua. Thank you, sir, for coming. We have the Director of National Center for Remote Sensing, Jos Plateau State, Dr. David Jeb. Please put your hands together for him. We have also the Director of International Cooperation of the agency, Alhaji Dr. Suleiman Sani. Please put your hands together for him. Of course, we have the Provost of the Institute of Space Science and Engineering, Dr. Olato Ibo is here with us. Please put your hands together for him. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, having domesticated introductions, please see how I can now extend introductions to dignitaries who have come to grace this event and make the NASA's Day worth the while and give it a facelift. In our midst, ladies and gentlemen, is a very good friend of the Space Agency. He is the National Coordinator for the Presidential Executive Order 5, Engineer Ibiam Ogwajiofo. Please put your hands together for him. You're highly welcome, sir. We also have in our midst, ladies and gentlemen, a royal father who has actually embraced space science and technology. He has come all the way from Ondo State to join us on this auspicious event. He is His Majesty Ododomo Afolabi Oladimeji. He is the Laraba one of Olubokoba, Ibokoba, in Laye local government area of Ondo State. I apply this name using space science and technology. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, we equally have from Cross River State, the Honorable Commissioner for Science and Technology. Please put your hands together for Honorable Pius Edwards. You're highly welcome, sir. We equally have the Deputy President of Abuja Chamber of Commerce, Osi Isimano. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you very much, sir. He's a very good friend of the agency and is here to give us his overwhelming support. Equally, we have the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Agricont Limited, Engineer A.D. Idowu. Please put your hands together for him. We will having a very solid friendship with the memorandum of understanding with this company, I think tomorrow at the Space Agency. Okay, that beat down distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. As I have the list of dignitaries who will join us in the course of this event, I will do well to introduce them to us. But meanwhile, let's see how we get the program started. My name is Ita Okun, Media and Corporate Communications Department, Office of the Director General, NASDA. I deserve the loudest round of applause. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have a couple of goodwill messages that we will take in the course of this event. But before we take the goodwill messages, it is only proper and necessary in Africa that the host, the DG of the Space Agency, will do well to mount the rostrum to officially, in his capacity as the Director General of NASDA, to welcome us officially as this event progresses. Please put your hands together for Dr. Halilu Shaba as he comes for his welcome remarks. My DG sir.
Thank you very much, Ita. My dear colleagues, our distinguished guests that are here to witness today and make this colorful event, on behalf of myself and on behalf of my colleagues and myself, I am welcoming you to NASDA's 2023 Expo of Federal Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Expo. I also will be glad to thank the Federal Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation for being so consistent and for the quality of exhibition which they have chosen for us to have today. While I will come to you to make presentation about the National Space Research and Development Agency so that we can be well abreast of what the agency is all about, what we do, and where we are heading to, I will once again say welcome to this NASDA's Day program. Thank you so much.
A round of applause for the #1 space scientist as far as Nigeria is concerned. Very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go straight to the goodwill messages as I quickly invite the National Coordinator for the Presidential Executive Order 5 for his very brief goodwill message. Please put your hands together for Engineer Ibiam Ugwe Jeffo. You're highly welcome, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon, everybody. And, I join the DG, welcome you to this place. As I present this goodwill message, I also beg to continue on the existing protocols. As you may have heard, I'm here in a new capacity, which many of the people in the space technology may not have known. But for those who know, the Presidential Executive Order number 5, as we all know, is an instrument of this administration to move Nigeria from consumption to production. And it is also, in other words, being used to move Nigeria from an underdeveloped nation to a developed nation. Because actually the difference between a developed country and an underdeveloped country is nothing but science, technology, and innovation. And over the period, this administration has discovered that science, technology, and innovation has not been acquired as part of our everyday life. And therefore, this order has been put together by the President as an interventionist order to do all that it can to see that our industrialization, our economy, and all about Nigerian development moves forward. And of course, we all know that this cannot be done without space technology. If we begin to look around us and we begin to discover how we managed to come from our house to this place, navigating through the traffic, and getting our direction right. It is all based on space technology. I'm sure we have watched television between yesterday and today. Our weather conditions, and name it, there is nothing that you cannot easily associate with space technology. And therefore, I want to congratulate the NASDAQ for all they are doing. I've been watching and I've been seeing, and I know that NASDAQ is improving by the day. And I want to congratulate you for this special day and urge that you continue to expand your scope. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. I think it deserves a big round of applause. Thank you, thank you. Okay, just before I invite the Deputy President of the Abuja Chamber of Commerce, let me introduce the other management team of the agency I just cited now. We have the Acting Director Administration of the Space Agency, Hajia Bekisu Ahmed, is right here with us. Please put your hands together for her. Thank you very much, Ma, for being here. We equally have Heads of Laboratories of Excellence of the Space Agency. Let me call your names very quickly. We have Dr. Solomon Ilya is here. Please put your hands together for him. Equally, we have Dr. Akachukwu Chichebe, our laboratory in the Ebonyi State, was right here. We have the Clean Queen of Mazda right here with us, ladies and gentlemen. And then the last but not the least, in the series, we have Dr. Benjamin Ayatunji. He is the head of the Physical and Life Sciences Department of the agency. I saw him a while ago. Please put your hands together for him. Thank you very much. As we proceed for the want of time to invite the president of the Abuja Chamber of Commerce. Please put your hands together for him as he comes for his goodwill message at this very auspicious event. You're welcome, sir.
Good evening. I wish to stand on the existing protocols. Well, first of all, let me make a correction. I'm not the deputy president. I'm the vice president for ICT. My president was to attend this function today, but due to other unforeseen circumstances, is somewhere else. I want to mention that NASDA and the Chamber of Commerce are neighbors. We share a common friends, and I want to mention that they are very, very good neighbors. We have a lot we are doing together, and I know that the DG in his presentation may mention a very major project that is coming up sometime this year. So we're actually proud to be part of this, and we wish NASDA a very successful exhibition. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Vice President, Abuja Chamber of Commerce. Please put your hands together for him for that very brief goodwill message. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I have just been reliably informed that we have in our midst the Managing Director of the Nigerian Communication Satellite Night Concerts, Engineer Tuko Mohammed Lawal Funtua. Please put your hands together for him. As I have the singular honor and privilege to very quickly invite him for a very brief goodwill message as we move to the next item. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Good evening. I would like to respectively remain on the existing protocol. We are pleased to be here. NASDA is our parent company. We work together, and we continue to be together. So we are pleased to be here. I will continue to support NASDA's efforts, and the biggest assurance of our support and our cooperation. We wish this occasion to be successful so that all the virtues set aside are achieved. Thank you very much. Good on, my leaders.
Thank you very much, the Managing Director, Night Concert Limited. Please, he deserves a bigger round of applause. Okay, according to the program, we go straight to the presentation of the evening. And then at the end of this presentation that we did by the DG Master, we will entertain questions, we will entertain comments and reactions, and then we prepare. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it It is therefore my singular honor and great privilege to at this event invite the indefatigable and amiable Digital Director General of the Space Agency, Dr. Halilu Ahmed Shaba, to please step forward for his presentation. A round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Let it go this way, so that this one will go this way. Thank you very much, and good evening once again. I also welcome our MD of the NICOMSAT, and thank you for your kind words. You are welcome on board. I believe during all this period, we will have so much reasons to celebrate together, work together, and at least let Nigerians see the benefit of what space science and technology is all about. It's just like a fair reputation of what happened last year, just to tell you what NASA is at a glance, so that we can all see what NASA is. And NASA at a glance, we'll talk about when National Space Research and Development Agency was established, which was in 1999. Nigeria realized that due to the vastness of its land, due to the activities, due to the size of population that Nigeria is having, Nigeria needs to have its own satellite. And that is why from day one, we agreed that we want to be in space. Now consider 200 million Nigeria as a population, all of them using GSM, or you get just a fraction of that using GSM. You also believe that whatever efforts we made in going into space is justifiable. At first, a lot of people were saying, we have a lot of problems, why do you want to go to space? But today, most problems are solved on Earth from space, looking at what the technology and what information can be provided. So, in 1999, Nigeria established the National Space Research and Development Agency. And in the wisdom of our great founders, they established S98 so that we will know how to use the data before we have our satellite in orbit. And the agency was established with so much mandates, and the major mandate will be to design, now to build satellite that is suitable for Nigerian economy, that is suitable for Nigerian health, that is suitable for Nigerian environment, that is also responsive to the economy of this country, so that when you use this for socio-economical development, it is going to give you so much background and then the bedrock. Now, for those of us who were old enough and were using maps, if you look at it, you'll discover that the maps that are the earliest were that of 1964 to 1966. You imagine if these maps are what we are still using today, if it will be able to get us to where we are going. You also remember, when we started using Google Map in Nigeria, at times, if you are driving and you are waiting for guidance with that Google Map, you'll be driving into somebody's house. This is because we don't have the right data. And one will see why it is pertinent for us to also drive our own data. Like our minister said yesterday, he said, if you don't tell your story, so much will be missed. We keep believing that if you don't know the vocabulary, you cannot tell the story. Now, when we started, it is only, and I repeat, in the whole of Africa, and if you go to some countries, it is only in Nigeria, because some people ask us, why do you call yourself Premier Space Agency in Africa? It is only in Nigeria where you have the space agency running NCRS, that is Remote Sensing Center, running its own astronomy program, running its rocketry program, running its geophysical program, and running its own educational program. That is the only place where you found it. And we have demonstrated this, that we are unique, because people keep asking, why are Nigerians in a hurry? And we say we have every reason to be in a hurry. You cannot crash the population of 200 million. Now, when we were going into space, the first question everybody was asking was, you have to go into space through two means. Either by buying a satellite, or by starting from the scratch. And Nigeria introduced the third methodology to the whole world, where we were building satellite, buying satellite, and we were part of the training. And I think that was the first time. Now, because Nigeria was made to grow exponentially, when we started with various centers. Like I said, the Center for Remote Sensing started in 1998 because the founding fathers felt we must know how to use the data before we start acquiring the data, so that we will hit the ground running. And then we have Center for Remote Sensing, we have Center for Geodesy and Geodynamics, we also have GeoArts, which is a company, we have Center for Satellite Technology Development that is supposed to build satellite for us, we also have Center for Space Propulsion, which is supposed to deal with rocketry, we have CBSS, that is Center for Basic Space Science, where we do astronomy and astrophysics. We also have Center for Atmospheric Research, where we deal with upper atmosphere. Recently, some things happened, and I remember some people wanted us to echo it. When South Africa began a fraction of what we have been doing for over 10 years, they gathered all the DGs of the space agencies in Africa, and they said they want to launch space weather. By the time we look at what they were doing, because ours was run by a unit, we did not even know that we were doing something that was so magnificent that we need to bring all Africans to come and watch. And these are some of the few things that most of the times we don't look into. Now we have Center for Geodesy and Geodynamics. That is in Toro. So we have centers spread in every region. In every region we have a center there, and we also have our laboratories that are spanned all over Nigeria in also regional pattern. Now these are the laboratories we have. They are advanced laboratories. These are centers of excellence, so that anytime we have some spin-offs, some activities, and they are fine-tuned to the community where they are living with, and that is where they grow from, so that the community and Nigerians will benefit from the activities of the space agency. Now, the roadmap and future developments. Now, the main goals of NASDA's roadmap. For everything, anytime you begin a journey and anytime you are focused, you need to have a very good roadmap to say this is where I'm going, so that at any given time, you assess yourself to see where you are heading to. If you are able to hit the mark, fine and good, you develop new goals. So part of the goals is to build a Nigerian satellite, which is supposed to be in Nigeria, and then launch it on the Nigerian soil. So that is part of it. Launch an astronaut into space, and also to build and launch made in Nigerian satellite on Nigerian soil, so that we say we have done it again. Now, if you look at it, we have roadmaps that started with the launching of satellites. Then it goes into putting man in space. It goes into building Nigerian satellite in Nigeria. And I'll tell you, because a lot of people want to ask, they said on a scale of 1 to 10, how can you rate the program, the landmarks of Nigerian space program? And I said, we can give ourselves 8. And they said, but look at it. Where we marked in green or in blue are the landmarks that we have achieved. And that is to say that the item from the bottom up, we have achieved 4 out of 10. And then a lot of people will wonder, why do you have to give yourself 8 if you were only able to achieve 4 out of 10? But one basic fact they fail to understand is the highest of it, Nigerian satellite in Nigeria and launching in Nigeria. But before you do that, you must build capacity, which we have done. We have demonstrated our capacity by building Nigeria Sat-3, Sat-X, which was supposed to be named Nigeria Sat-3, but we didn't name it Nigeria Sat-3 because it's an experimental satellite. Like I said, we had a model, the third model which we introduced to the world. Based on the third model we introduced to the world, those who are part of building Nigeria Sat-1, Nigeria Sat-2, and Nicomsat were the ones who built Nigerian Sat-X from scratch. That means if building satellite on Nigerian soil is very important, we have demonstrated the capability, which will take you so many years to build. And I remember one American president that said if they ask him if he can do anything, he will answer yes, and then go and acquire the knowledge and come and do it. Acquiring knowledge will take a long time. On NASDAQ soil, we have the capacity of over 200 PhD holders and over 400 masters. And that is to tell you that we have won 80 to 85%. That's why I say to some people, if I finish assessment, they will give us 85%, not even 80. What are the major achievements? Because some people keep hearing about NASA. What have they done? And I'm going into that. We have launched the satellite. We have launched 6 satellites in total. We have launched Nigeria Sat-1 in 2003. And if you go through the trajectory of NASA, you will believe that we have come too far, we have come a long way, and we have come too far and developed the expertise. In 2003, we launched a satellite with 3 bands. And that satellite, which we launched with 3 bands, was in orbit. Instead of spending just 5 years, it spent 9 years in orbit. And that was a kind of engineering feat which was achieved. In 2007, communication satellite was also launched. We launched the communication satellite, which is NICOMSAT. And in 2011, we launched NICOMSAT. That is, let me go down to Earth observation. In 2011, we launched 2 satellites. Remember, in 2003, we launched only 1 satellite. To show the growth, we were able to launch 2 satellites at the same time. We launched Nigeria Sat-2, and we also launched Nigeria Sat-X, which was an experimental satellite. And again, instead of Nigeria Sat-1, where we have 3 bands, here we have more than 3 bands. We have 3 bands panchromatic as a focus, and then we have 2.5 meters resolution. We also have 5 meters resolution, and we also were able to show in a way that you are going to use it orthogonally, and it will give you the height of every building as you want it to be. And in Nigeria Sat-X, which was an experimental satellite, a lot of people who will go into research will tell you, for the first time a 22 meters resolution was put on board any satellite was when we launched Nigeria Sat-2, Sat-X. Now, after we launched our NICOMSAT 1, that is NICOMSAT 1R, we also launched the replacement of that NICOMSAT, because a lot of people kept asking us that, you say that a satellite is missing, and they thought it was Earth observation. Once you have satellite and the satellite is fully insured, because a lot of people will not know that there are more failures in launch of satellite than success, but Nigeria had always seen success. So when we launched the communication satellite and there was a problem, we realized that the communication satellite was insured. So NICOMSAT 1 was replaced, and that is why it is called NICOMSAT 1R. We also have an educational satellite, which Nigeria, Ghana, and other 3 countries put hands together to develop that. The idea is to put experts from Nigeria to work with other experts, so that each expert team will build its own satellite, which Nigeria built EduSat satellite, Nigerian EduSat in 2017. Now, in most of our activities, because this has always been the burning question, people keep asking, what are you doing to support the armed forces? And we keep saying that these are not things that are in public domain. They don't get to see it. From these slides, you will see what we did with the armed forces. First, Nigeria is not just spatially aware country. Like when you go to Europe and you ask of anywhere, the first thing they do to you, they produce a map before you, and then they draw cycles and say, when you go here, when you reach here, this is how you go. If you don't do that to Nigerians, they are going to be missing. They will miss their ways. So because we are not just spatially intelligent community, we first started by saying that we want to train the military. And we had several trainings where we even started with the cadets that are in NDA, that is Catch Them Young. We try to have training with the police. We try to have training with the civil defense. We try to bring all the security forces together so that they will be able to interpret the data that is coming from our satellite. And that is where you start from. Because you don't give people what they cannot absorb. You must be able to at least grow their digestive system, grow their intestine, so that they will be able to digest the data that is coming out from the space agency. And we did that severally. We did that to a lot of them. Now, we have a lot of rocketry programs together with the military. One will tell you that one of the strengths of any military anywhere in the world is rocketry capabilities. And we have a rocketry program with the Defense Space Administration. We also have with the Nigerian Air Force. And that is one thing that you know. If you acquire the capabilities, anyone that is rating you will rate you high. Now, in furtherance to that, to understand the pattern, the sporadic attack, the pattern of the attack from the terrorists, where they are moving to, how they are carrying it out, understanding how they move, what is their size. We also carried out geo-visualization of terrorist activities in the northeastern Nigeria. And the data is there, the data was shared. Only that it was not meant for the public consumption. But for the first time, you will see what we had and what it looks like. Now, military operation outside Nigeria. A lot of people will wonder, and we keep saying that the National Space Research and Development Agency is a strategic asset to Nigeria. If we have our military, because our military keep on going to support peace missions outside Nigeria, you cannot ask America to give you satellite data. They will ask you what for? Of another country. You cannot. They will ask the country has to give them approval before you can get that data. Strategic, because Nigeria has been a big brother. Strategic, because Nigeria has been one of the major forces that is keeping the whole of Africa at peace due to its own peace mission. We were able to support them when they were at Gabon because we had a problem. We did terrain analysis when Nigerian military jet crashed so that they will be able to recoup that. We also did terrain analysis when our armed forces were in Mali, and we supported them with that data, which came handy. Anywhere we go and say that the last map of Nigeria we had was 1960 to 64, they will tell us that the whole of Africa is having similar problem. So this was handy when they had to carry out campaign for peace mission. Now the Lake Chad. We did this to understand, because so many people are not understanding that some of the crises in the country and other places in the world are resource crises. Normally, when you have conflict, the conflicts are over resources. Lake Chad was shrinking. Nigerians were moving with the Lake Chad, and they even forgot that they were moving into another territory because their life depends on that Chad basin. So we were able to map to say this is what it is, this is what it is, what is shrinking. And because we exist, if you go back to some of our analysis, most of the areas, most of the vegetations that were lost in previous years, with the crisis of Boko Haram that stopped people from farming, vegetation is going back to the same places where we thought vegetations are lost, where it was turning to desert. It's now becoming greener and greener. You can't go there, but satellite will be able to get there. Now in Abuja here, we also did crime spot analysis to assist the Nigerian police and other people who deal with crime. Where are the hotspots of crime? So that they will be able to distribute their men, and then they will know when to go there, and they will know what to do there and what to carry there. What type of crime, where the crimes are. We carry out crime mapping so that we identify the hotspots in Abuja, and then where are the cold spots, and then what period. Support for national planning. We were able to produce, to show Nigerians, this is what their satellite has done. Since the satellite was launched, we produced Nigerian Atlas, which was purely Nigerian satellite data. We also produced land use land cover, evaluation of Southwest. And I'm happy that our royal father is here. When he looks at the land use land cover, he will see how his area has changed drastically, moving on from sometimes to now. At times, conflict resolved from these changes because the modern times is not willing to absorb changes. And then because you are introducing new things, you have conflict over the resources that are supposed to be available. Now, population estimate of Abuja Municipal Area Council using Nigeria's SAT-2 high-resolution images. We were able to carry out decimetric population census. That is to say, what are the values, what are changing. So that never had 10 years gap period. It is always census after every 10 years is the rule. But Nigeria never had census after every 10 years. The last one was 2006. By 2016, we are supposed to have had another census. So now to support the activity so that you know what it is between two censuses, we now did decimetric analysis, which was a demonstration of what the satellite can give you so that you are able to understand what it is. And by law, it is only Population Commission that can declare the population of any given area. Now, we did GRID, that is Georeference Infrastructure and Demographic Data for Development. Now it is on the web. It was supported by Bill and Melinda Gates, CICEL, and also our national planning. And the idea was, wherever you are, the basic data that you need for development should be available to you. And then these are the first data. If you want more refined data, you can now dig deeper so that you understand what your area is and what your surroundings are all about. Now, support for agriculture. One of the oldest practices in the areas of using space science and technology is in the area of agriculture. So that, if you know, we always say that Africa is an agrarian society. So any development that will not help agrarian society so that they put food on the table is a kind of development that is at least not mooted well and designed well. So we did a lot of activities because last year Ministry of Agriculture came to us after so many years of developing Fadama Land Information System. The idea was, with Fadama Land Information System, a lot of people will know where to go to when they want to do cultivation, when they want to cultivate rice. And that was what we saw last year. I mean, since this government came into power, they tried to boost agriculture. And one area where they spend so much money is the area of Fadama. And that's, they came looking for this information. And we said this information needs to be updated. But this information has been with us for over 10 years. And that was not done for NASDAQ's consumption, but for Federal Ministry of Agriculture to consume. And now we also did potential, that is suitability analysis. What is this land suitable for? Because if you plant what is not suitable for the land, you can't get any yield. Now, a lot of people want to ask big question. Why is it that somebody in Europe will farm 1 hectare and get 2 tons, and somebody in Nigeria is getting less than 200 kg? Questions need to be asked, and that's why we are moving into what we call the smart agriculture, and we already have some of the most basic information that Nigerian farmers are supposed to use to enhance their productivity. Now, GIS-based agroecological zoning of Nigeria. This is also part of what gives you an idea what is the most suitable in an environment. If you don't deal with what is the most suitable, definitely the issue of comparative advantage is something that has deluded you, because you may be working with something that is not suitable for that land just because you see other people are cultivating it, or because you felt it is easy to do. Now, support for environment and disaster management. Air quality monitoring network over Nigeria. The Center for Atmospheric Research, that is SCAR that I mentioned, they have NEC data, they have stations all over Nigeria. Most of these things are within the university, and they are providing air quality information, and they are read directly from our server, not something that you go to pick daily to say that this is what the air quality is. No. And most of the labs we are working with, they found the data useful. So NIMET is somewhere we are partnering with, so that we are going to densify meteorological information all across the country. Now, assessment of change in areal extent of Lake Chad. One will see that the area of Lake Chad, yes, okay. One will understand that The area of Lake Chad, we said, the shrinking of Lake Chad Basin is one of the crises we are having in the northeast. So,
distinguished ladies and gentlemen, will you please be upstanding as we welcome the Honorable Minister, Federal Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, Senator Dr. Abiliki into the arena. Of course, with entering, we have the Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, and also we have the Technical Scenario Special Assistant to the Honorable Minister on Technical Matters just arriving at this event. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Thank you very much, the Permanent Secretary, and thank you very much, the SLC, to the Minister for attending to this NASDAQ Day celebration. We bring this as an honor to the Space Agency. We highly welcome the Honorable Minister. Will you please resume your seats, ladies and gentlemen, as the DG NASDAQ will continue his presentation. Thank you very much, gentlemen of the press. Will you please give the DG this role to continue? Thank you.
When your day is honored by a distinguished, a honorable minister, I think your day is made. Thank you for finding time. The Permanent Secretary, I can see stress all over our face. Thank you that despite the stress, you are able to locate our our arena. And at least we will try and be very brief, because we are glad you found time after all these cycles of visiting some tents. Thank you very much for being here with us. Like I was saying, the beginning, if you look at the beginning of the crisis, the banditry, the insurgency, if you look at it and put it squarely where it belongs, you will discover that it started from the northeast. A lot of people are not wondering why is it that it started from the northeast. And like I keep saying, I said most of the crises we have are crises of resources. From day one, even where wars were fought over resources, and that is why we were so concerned with Lake Chad. And like I said, last 2 years, about 3 years back, that was what prompted the president of this country, with that of Chad and Cameroon and other countries, to sit and speak about Lake Chad. And one of the things they are looking at is to pump water back to Lake Chad. Now, we looked at it. If you look at what we demonstrated or what we displayed there, you see that the shape of Lake Chad is shrinking. And we are following it because we chronicle the art. We tell you that Lake Chad is shrinking. For those of us that will be following us in few years to come, you will be seeing the changes that are taking place in Lake Chad. It has shrunk, but now because the insurgencies in the northeast has driven away people from that area, so they were not cultivating. Part of our research indicated, because what you had when you have Labartine surface, it reflects back to that. Now you are having vegetation, green vegetation returning back to that area. It's not positive, because that's not what we are looking at to say that insurgency should continue. But now we are seeing the relationship between environment and man, and then the relationship between environment and crisis, how they are related with one another. Now, response to flood in 2011-2012. For those of us who remembered vividly, you remember that going to Lagos was very critical then. Some people spent almost 2 weeks at that river. What most of us that go to the field see, we saw the economy that was developing there, because there were hefty men that were helping to carry people from one side to another to make money. There are people who were there selling goods so that they also make money. A small market was developing there. But what we said is, flood is not positive. What can we do to stop flood? You must have a total information. Because if you see flood in Abuja, it is not the rain that falls in Abuja that is causing the flood. The rain must have taken its route from far away. So where is this rain coming from? It is only satellite that covers a very large area to tell you what is happening is coming from. Now, we still remember when there was a little problem, I don't know if NEMA people were here, between a dam management and the state. They did not look at where the flood was coming from, but they blamed it on dam management. But because the space agency was there, if there was flood upstream, you cannot say it was because dam was released, that was why you are having that flood. We were able to resolve that because we have evidences that indicated that the dam was not only released, the water was overflowing the dam. Now, environmental sensitivity. Most of us carry out our activities in the environment without knowing what impact we are creating. Now, how sensitive is the environment to the activities you are carrying out there? This will assist the government to take a very critical decision to say that these are the alternative activities, because we don't just say that this is not good for this place. We try to provide alternative, and we send it to the same shocker to see if cultivation, if this place is highly sensitive to cultivation, and we say it's sensitive to cultivation, are you going to put a university there? We now send the university and now try to put the environment or university there to see, will it have the same shocker? If not, then we tell the government this is an alternative route. If you want this, we were able to test these various options, and this is the best option based on our test. We did that for Katsina. The northern Katsina, you can see it's in red, followed by yellow, and then green. The erosion site in the southeast, those who know Ngulunaka, is it Angulunaka or Ngulunaka, very well. Naka. So those who know it, you will see that at times some people are living in a house, it will cave in. We did this with federal FAO, and we were able to provide information, because if you must put a solution, you don't go to where the flood is, the erosion is, and start putting solution. No, the head cause where the erosion is starting from. And some erosion can be up to 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers. If you are not able to identify where the problem is coming from, it will be like dealing with cancer, a solution that you cannot provide. We did that one with World Bank and Federal Ministry, FAO, Food and Agricultural Organization. Now, that drivers of deforestation, a lot of people are trying to manage their forest. And the same thing, some of us that are environmentalists, when you go to Lagos Beach and you visit other beaches around the coast, the question is, why can't our beach also be maintained, and why can't we generate the right money that we are supposed to generate? In the same manner, we were looking for what are the drivers of deforestation, that Nigeria is fast losing its forest. And then, is it population alone? Or is it cooking? Or is it agriculture? Or what? Now we have to find what is the model that is causing that deforestation, so that once you develop that model, all you need to do at any given time, you should be able to say, I'm halting deforestation here, and then I'm halting carbon. Now the question still said, okay, now if those who are causing insecurity and the bandits are using forests to hide, why do you want to maintain forest? If there is carbon change and you are able to monitor the carbon, you should be able to tell that there is a carbon change that is taking place. You believe that people are living within the forest. That is the case we have at Birningwari. Space geodesy research. I remember we kept telling people that when Haiti problem happened, Nigeria was able to pick it from here in Nigeria. Because in the whole of Africa, there is one more stable ground, which is in Toro. And for you to put any station that monitors seismic waves, you have to put it on the ground that is not shaking. Okay. Pause for a minute. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, sorry for that break. In transmission. He is full of life, he is full of energy, he is full of zest. And the Honorable Minister is overtly committed to transform the Federal Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation from the level at which it met it to a different dimension. As a crew member of the STI TV, I meticulously followed the Honorable Minister, who meticulously visited all the stands, all the pavilions, all the agencies, and all the institutions under the Federal Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation. And today, he's still going around all the pavilions. He's not tired. He is ready to take science, tech, and innovation to the next level. So at this point, ladies and gentlemen, because he has other national assignments to attend to, it is therefore my singular honor and great privilege to, at this point, invite the Honorable Minister, Federal Ministry of Science, Technology, and Innovation, Senator Dr. Abilike Manoa, my very good friend, to please speak at this event. You're highly welcome, sir. With a standing ovation, let's welcome the Honorable Minister to the stand. You're highly welcome, sir.
Please sit down. Thank you very much. Yes, you heard him now. I am his running mate. Right. Thank you very much. It's good to be here. And DG, sorry for cutting you short like that. Well, you are professing, I should say, and doing what you're best to do. Thank you, and through you to all the members of your team for the great work that you are doing. It's good to be here at this point of Expo. You know, the first thing that occurred to me when I came in is that we've been talking of meeting a kind of handshake between research output and industry practitioners. That's one of the reasons why we have this kind of expo. But I can tell you, when I came in here, what came to mind is we have those of us who are terrestrial bodies meeting with celestial bodies, because these are people who operate in the space that we don't have access to, and it's better that we listen to them, because we are told that whatever happens in the physical realm will have been decided at the celestial realm. And that's why he was telling us, you know, the space people, they talk about remote sensing, they talk about prediction of certain things, which we that operate at the terrestrial level don't have. So you can see that we must respect these people. But talking very, very seriously, NASA has done so much. They have done so much. There's no doubt about that. And the last that we had was signing this Artemis Accord, which took place just a few weeks back in the United States of America. And I know how pained the DG was that I couldn't attend that thing, but it's okay for some reasons. Which is, I mean, the Artemis Accord has to do with civil use of the space. It's a kind of project that is being led by the United States of America. That event, Nigeria and Rwanda were the two African countries to have signed that accord. And we stand to benefit a lot from that signing of the accord. Within my short stay in the Federal Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation, I can say without any fear of equivocation that NASA is one of our top agencies that is doing so well in terms of taking this country to another level. And they are well positioned, and one of the things that I had to do virtually by the very last day of year 2022 was to ensure that our STI television came on stream. And really, it did, because I was on the neck of the DG NASA to ensure that this thing, because we made a commitment to the Nigerian people that this thing must come on stream. And I did say that we want to tell our own story in our own way, in its originality, unadulterated. That's the whole essence. Aside what I call the three major functions of media houses in terms of education, entertainment, information. But we needed to start telling our own stories very, very succinctly and in the best way we can. And I can tell you that we are into that already. And I do know as well that NASDAQ has keyed into, so when you look at the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria that talks of fundamental objectives and directive principles of state policy, it says that security and welfare shall be the primary purpose of government. And I can assure you that NASDAQ is one of the agencies that has keyed very, very firmly into that, and trying to ensure that through the satellites that we have in space, we can improve our security architecture in terms of combating the various forms of insecurity that we are presently confronted with, be it insurgency, banditry, cattle rustling, just name it. So they are doing a lot in that regard, and of course are partnering with our security agencies. And I can assure you that we will get there. So without taking too much of your time, I want to commend NASA and the entire team in that agency for what you are doing, and I do hope that you will not relent. The reward for hard work is more work. So I say congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. The DG NASDAQ has a very wonderful presentation to the Honorable Minister for the Ministry of Science, Technology and Innovation. Honorable Minister, sir, this way.
Thank you, my Honorable Minister. What we have here is we have a power bank that is produced using graphene by National Space Research and Development Agency. The idea of using graphene, because when I told my colleagues that the Honorable Minister was coming to my stand, they on their own said, no, we are going to produce a power bank for the Honorable Minister to test so that at least he will say what is good about the graphene. There are a lot of power banks, and like somebody who is in business will say, the only thing you have to sell is the difference. So we now said, okay, let's use our own developing graphene. And there is, we also developed a block, a cement that is stronger than what Bega is importing into Nigeria from Germany, from the same graphene. So based on that, we are handing over this, our small token and little effort, to our dear Honorable Minister for his kind usage and blessing. Thank you so much. Okay. So, dear sir, this is written in your name, and then you also remember that it's also coming from National Space Research and Development Agency. As big as it looks, I will not say the comment you say about your SA technical, but as big as it is, it has so much capacity that is equal to its size, sir. Thank you so much.
you had the DG. That as big as it is, on one hand, and saying that, I knew he was referring to MEJ Bassi. But what he didn't say is that as short as it is inversely proportional. Well, this is customized. So, it is for me and for me alone. Well, Nazar, thank you very much for this. I will make sure that I use it so that even when I leave office, so that I can always remember Nazar for this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Minister. Please put your hands together for the Honorable Minister, the DG Mazda, and everyone for this wonderful moment. You can see the Honorable Minister do what he knows how to do best.
I'm doing this so that they can know that this one is very close to me. Okay.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Minister, for the Minister of Science, Technology, and Innovation. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank also the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Mrs. Maninola Udo. Thank you so much for coming. We thank also the Director, Chemical Technology and SSA, to the Minister, Mr. MJD and Bassi, for paying us this visit on this day. Thank you very much, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as we wait the arrival of the DG, who has actually gone to see the Honorable Minister off. As soon as he returns, the presentation will continue and then we'll wrap up. Thank you. Dr. Francis Chiza, the Director of Policy Planning and Research, will continue from where the DG stopped. Thank you.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, the presentation is still on, please. Sorry, the DG is coming back. I don't think we should leave. The DG will soon be back. But I will continue the presentation to save time. Many of us have stayed here and it's actually running late. The DG had tried to tell you how the DG had over the time been trying to tell you how we have used space science and technology for various interventions within the Nigerian society. He talked about, or he was talking about, the issue of the earthquake and earth tremor that happened in Abuja in 2018 and in some other earth tremors happening across other parts of the country, using our center, using space geodesy as a means to ensuring taking data and putting out data to be able to advise on how or the way things will be carried out during the time of a disaster. Support for education. The agency had talked about capacity building as a major factor in sustaining the space program as a whole. One is the establishment of the Institute of Space Science and Engineering. Please, can we, the presentation is still ongoing, please. NASA as an agency had always and supported capacity building. We mentioned this even in the building of our satellite. Not only that we buy satellite, we go through training, we involve capacity building as a major factor of every program or project that we carry out as an agency. That is to ensure that we keep the capacity and the capability to be able to repeat whatever, even if at a certain time we need or have to pay for it, as it were. So we have established in 2010 the Institute of Space Science and Engineering. This is a unique postgraduate institution. It only deals with, is an affiliate of the African University of Science and Technology. It only deals with postgraduate studies, in masters and in PhD mainly. The first set of students, I think, graduated in the year 2022. They focused mainly on space engineering systems, with programs drawn from the specialized studies in space sciences, engineering, mathematics, computerization, and technology innovation, leading to the award of masters and PhDs. The African Center for Space Science and Technology Education was one of the centers the DJ mentioned as one of the centers that was attached to the agency in the beginning. One uniqueness of this center is that it also doubles up as a UN center. It's a UN center for space science and technology education for training of English-speaking African countries. So apart from just servicing Nigeria, it also works for the UN to service the African continent, the English-speaking African member states. Now, part of the work we have carried out is the mapping of the situation of primary schools in Nigeria. We have, I'm sorry that we can't see very well, we've tried to work with the Nigerian primary, to map the primary schools in Nigeria, to know where the primary schools are located and the areas that are lacking. If you could see very well within the thank you. That was the problem. Within, if you could see on the map, you could actually tell the trend of what you see with the locations of primary schools, especially in the northeastern part of Nigeria. We've also done the same for junior secondary schools and the senior secondary schools within Nigeria. Many of you will be able to have opportunity to go to our tele-education and telemedicine bus, in cooperation with NICOMSAT Nigeria Limited and using facilities of NICOMSAT satellite. We have also worked with the Nigerian Open University on issues of tele-education. That is where students can stay at every center anywhere in the world and receive lecture from one particular university. Support to the health sector. We have used spatial tracking system towards polio eradication in Nigeria. We've used geospatial to be able to spatial data to be able to track the spread of polio within the country. We also use geospatial data in tracking COVID-19 vaccination activities in Nigeria. We want to know which areas are getting or are receiving the required vaccinations at the right time, and to be able to advise government areas that are lacking some of these vaccinations or where vaccinations are not proven. We be able to create a NASDAQ dashboard for the monitoring of COVID-19 using GIS system. During the time of the COVID pandemic, we're able to tell which states that are affected, and be able to advise government accordingly that these areas are where the surges are increasing, and the need for government to put more focus on those areas, and also try to know why the spread of the virus is higher in certain areas, and be able to advise the communities on what to do about that. We have the telemedicine in collaboration with the Ministry of Health. We're going to have a demonstration at our pavilion, which means that using this technology, you can at any point in time have access to any doctor. That is, those in the rural area can sit down and be seeing a doctor sitting somewhere far, far away from. Sorry about that. Well, our DJ have mentioned the rocketry program. We have been having a lot of test run. Today, we have reached certain heights. I wouldn't want to mention it that particularly, but as I said, we are carrying out a holistic space program, which involves not only just for R&D or education, we also do rocketry programs too. Capacity building, I hope I'm not going back on this presentation because as if he has mentioned most of the things I'm saying before now. Well, on the capacity building, during the Nigerian SAT-1 program, we trained 15 engineers. For the NICOM-SAT program, we trained 55 engineers. And for the Nigerian SAT-2 program, we trained 27 engineers. And for now, we have close to about 200 PhD holders within our space, within our system. I can tell you that within most universities, you don't have 200 PhD holders within the system. But NASDAQ today, as an agency, have close to 200 PhD holders, and that's about 3 to 350 MSc holders within the system. PhD holders have not just sat down doing nothing. We have been doing a lot of research. One of the research areas and spin-off is in the area of instrumentation. We've been able to produce a lot of local equipments. These are equipments that I don't want to waste too much time. We've been told to kind of vacate here within the next 10 minutes. Yeah? Okay. We have a lot of equipment, instrumentation that we've done over the years. That's trying to ensure that we don't depend on importation for our equipment and also be able to service our brothers and sisters within Nigeria that need such equipment. Some of these equipments are available and we'll be able to see them at our pavilion, which I expect we will move to at the end of this presentation. This is a very important one. Last year, one of the spin-offs of our research was transformed into a private partnership program, which is research and development of satellite technology and equipment for provision of cost-effective satellite broadband service to rural Nigeria in collaboration with Masa Gilad Satellite Network of Israel. This project started as one of the outcome of our research findings was used to design an antenna that would work more within the tropical area. And this now is in a PPP program, which was approved by the Federal Executive Council late last year. The second one is the upgrade and equipping and operating and marketing of Space Museum and Planetarium in collaboration with Atlantic Factorial Limited of Nigeria, that is trying to commercialize, not only depending on being able to get resources to be able to run the agency, not depending on budgetary allocation 100% henceforth. Now in conclusion, the space program is over 20 years old. Nigeria is the first nation in Africa to establish a space agency, and today 10 other African countries have joined. So much achievements have been attained during this period. The space program remains a strategic vehicle for the achievement of the socio-economic development of our nation, as well as the attainment of the economic recovery and growth plan program of the federal government of Nigeria. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Please put your hands together for Dr. Francis Chizia for concluding the presentation by the DG NASDA. And of course, he has enumerated the achievements of the Space Agency, the trajectory of the Space Agency, the historical perspective of the Space Agency, and of course, the surmountable challenges that we can also have going forward. Of course, the Honorable Minister spoke about the STI TV, which is like an offshoot from what the agency started, what we call the Space TV then, and now it catapulted and snowballed into the STI TV. I think we deserve a very big round of applause for setting the pace from Space TV to STI TV. So we have a few questions. Let's have numbers, sir. Number one. Those three questions, sir. Number two. Do we have a little to balance it? Okay, fine. So let's take these questions and then the Director, Policy Planning and Research will profile answers to the questions that will be coming very shortly. You're very welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. I will not bore you, and I want to congratulate NASDA for bringing us here. And I think I can proudly, my name is Shola Kayode. I served as the Nigerian representative to UNIDO in France. I'm a systems thinker. And I must count myself very lucky to be here with the DG's presentation, because I'm one of those who is having an uptick from this outing. I'm starting from the point of GIS-based agro-ecological zones for Nigeria. Fortunately enough, I must say I'm happy to be here because I have an ongoing research where I'm working on crop production and yields crossing 3 ecological zones. And invariably, the take home I'm going to have, which is bringing me closer to NASDAQ, is that my farmers whom I'm using, I'll now be able to geotag them. So it will help me go the extra dimension of taking my research. I'm so happy about that because food security becomes an issue now, and there is a threat of hunger. That's why I decided to go into the Nigerian food system. So I'm very happy that the DG has mentioned this, and it's a take home. The second thing I'm going to mention is, over last week, you might have heard that there's another agency of federal government that is going into manufacture of smart agriculture equipment. I want to plead. They must not lose sight of what you are doing in smart agriculture. Waste of funds where there is paucity of funds. This is not the time Nigeria needs it. So if the agency is not aware and they need to, I don't want to mention the agency, they are to go into manufacture of agricultural machinery for smart agriculture. NASDAQ has done a lot of work on smart agriculture. There must be collaboration. I want to mention that precisely exactly Naseni. You need to work with them. They might not be aware of what you have done on smart agriculture, so that there will be no overlap of functions. Those are the two comments I want to make. And the third one, which I believe is relevant to our health system, is the telemedicine, where our PHCs, our primary health centers, lack doctors. So you can have a cluster of PHCs using telemedicine for diagnosis. You can even use experts in Japan or even in China for healthcare delivery purposes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all your comments or your goodwill, and I can assure you that we work with Naseni, but I will also confirm that this program or project is one of those that we're working with Naseni on. Thank you very much for your comment and the kind words. We appreciate. You heard the Honourable Minister, he said the compensation for good work is more work. So you have given us more work, and we'll do that, and we appreciate that, and we'll carry on. Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, we go ahead for number 2.
Thank you very much, sir. All protocol duly observed. My name is Ido Desmenu. I happen to be the MDC of the first community franchising program in Nigeria on electricity. From Ondo South, where they've not had power for the past 14 years. BEDC, Benin Disco, have just given assent for us to run a franchise in 4 of the 5 local governments there. That means we give independent power supply and everything, running the whole works. However, that is just one of the things that needs to be done. The major thing there is the security aspect. While we've been working on this power project for almost 13 years now, we are looking at how can we secure the infrastructure, because without the security system, they put anything there, vendors will come and take them away. We looked around, then we approached, we said we wanted to approach NASDAQ. They told us they are too big for us. I said only the long that can reach out to the deep. So we approached NASDAQ and they gave us geo apps. And I want to thank you for the civil part of your program. We were able to meet with geo apps Dr. Jeb David and Mr. Ima Onwaburiri, who has been working with us for some time. And by the grace of God, we'll be signing security surveillance, area security surveillance with geo apps, whereby they are going to assemble build and assemble surveillance drones that can stay in the air for about 22 hours right here in Nigeria. And we want you now to use your STI TV to propel yourself. We don't know what you can do. We don't know your capabilities. We don't know your abilities. We've been hearing about you, but you are way up there. Please, Dr. Jem, Mr. Ima, is a pity the DG is not here. He's very passionate about the project. We are signing our MOU tomorrow with the foreign partners and all. Please, make this thing open. Let the world, let Nigerians know what you can do for us in the civil area. Because we believe you are just in the terrestrial, just like the minister said. But we need to come together and see what we can do. We are just one out of 1 million people who needs your services. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that comment. I'm sorry, we will not take the third question. I can answer your question on the side, please. If you note, our sister agency is already moving in. They've been pushing out. They are supposed to occupy this room now. I'll take your question outside, but I won't assign it. But please, let's also respect give chance to our sister agencies. Thank you very much for the advice. We'll do as you have said. We're lucky we're not getting questions, we're just getting advice, and we take it all because that is why we are out here. So on behalf of DG, management and staff of NASDAQ, I want to thank you all for coming. I also apologize for the change in time. I know we kept on changing time based on what we were given by the ministry. Your Royal Highness, our colleagues, our friends, thank you very much, and by God's grace we will all meet here. Please, we'll now move to NASDAQ Pavilion where we can see some of the things that were mentioned, and then I can answer and take more of your questions, please. Perhaps we can take more questions. Thank you very much. God bless. Forget national anthem.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Our tenancy here expires in 2 minutes. We'll be going to the NASDAQ stand pavilion for the exhibition. So please enjoin everyone here to go straight to where the NASDAQ stand is located. You can locate it easily when you see a telemedicine vehicle bus out there. Thank you so much for being part of the NASDAQ Day celebration as part of the 7th Expo on Science, Technology and Innovation, the 2023 edition. Thank you for being part of history. Thank you, goodbye, and joining us. Thank you.
My name is
Rise and compatriots, Nigeria's calling, to serve our father's land, with love and strength and faith. The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain. To serve with heart and mind, we shall bound in freedom, peace and unity. Stay standing, we will take the second stanza of the national anthem as our opening prayer. After the count of three. 1, 2, 3. O God of creation, direct our noble cause, guide our leader strive, help our youth to know, in love and honesty to grow, and live in justice and truth. Great lofty hearts attain, and build a nation where peace and justice reign. Thank you very much. You may have a seat. The Honorable Minister of State, Science, Technology and Innovation of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Director General Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Building and Labour Research Institute, other distinguished invited guests here present, directors and top management staff of the Institute, gentlemen of the press, my colleagues, staff of the Institute. Good evening to all. You are welcome to this Nigerian Building and Research Institute Day of the ongoing 2023 Science, Technology and Innovation Expo taking place here at the Expo Square in Abuja. We want to thank you for the patience to wait up to this time. It really wasn't our fault. Because other agencies have to have their own time, and we'll make it very snappy so that we'll leave here fulfilled. Thank you very much. Before we go, let me just quickly introduce some of the guests that we have here. Our invited guest is the Minister of State, former Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation. He is a former Commissioner in Abia State, Chieftain of the All Progressives Congress. He is by name Chief Henry Kichukwuko. Sir, you are welcome. A round of applause for him. Thank you very much, sir. I'm indeed very grateful to have you in our midst. Seated next to him is the wonderful Director General Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Building and Research Institute, and this is that he acted as DG in 2019, and then he became full-time in the year 2020. Professor Samson Gona, our father, thank you so much. You're welcome here. Let me also introduce some of the directors that are here, and much later we will have a list of our guests and I'll introduce them too. Let me start by introducing some of our former directors that have come to join us in this event. Quickly, I'd like to start by introducing Mr. Love Lenigbe is the immediate past Director of Administration and Personnel of the Institute. Sir, you're welcome. Thank you very much, sir, for coming. Also here is our Director, my former Director of Planning and Information, Dr. Lee, Mr. T. Sir, you're welcome. Mr. T, and thank you, sir, for coming. Thank you so much for coming with us to here. I will also have with us the coordinator of our National Laboratory Complex over there in ETA, and also in charge of the World Research Unit is by name Dr. Charles Osadebe. Sir, you're welcome. Thank you for coming all the way from ETA in the state. Let me go towards my right and introduce the head of procurement and fiscal planning maintenance of the Institute, Engineer Bentalisa. Stand up for recognition. Thank you so much for coming. Sitting next to him is the man in charge of our stay here, and is also the director in charge of consultancy extension services of the Institute. His name is Mr. Daniel Makada. Sir, you're welcome. Thank you for recognizing. Last but not the least is the director in charge of planning, information, technology at the Institute. His name is Mr. Paul Ayabi. For recognition. Thank you very much for coming. At the time, like I said, I will introduce other special guests that are here. Quickly, we'll skip the citation, sir. Fine. And then we will call upon you now to come and give your opening remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, the round of applause for the Director General Chief Executive of the Nigerian Media Research Institute for his opening remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Peter Marshall. You are a born MC. The Honorable Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, we are happy to have you around. The last time NIBRI had a function, you were away to Port Harcourt on official assignment. We miss you when NIBRI organized a summit on building collapse. Today we are privileged to have you in our midst. Once again, we are happy to have you, my minister, sir. My humble friend, the DG Natural Medicine, is also here with us. I want to thank you for coming. I can see quite a lot of retired directors in service, quite a number of dignitaries here present. Once again, I welcome all of you. Mine is a welcome remarks, and I'm not going to take much time. It's basically to welcome you to NIBRI Day. NIBRI is an agency under Science and Tech, established precisely in 1978 to conduct research in areas of road and building. So we'll be telling you what we have been doing for the past 40 years in existence and what NIBRI has been doing in terms of touching lives and trying to diversify from the normal oil or the normal of doing things to the way what we are doing. So basically we will take the next 30 minutes or so. I want to assure you that we are going to be snappy. Will not take much time. Highest within 45 minutes we are here so that we will leave. We'll tell you what we've been doing at the same time and what are our challenges in the offices. The idea is to welcome you and to assure you that you are not going to regret coming to NIBRI. NIBRI has become a household name. There is no location, no local government that you visit today without the presence of a NIBRI constructed infrastructure. You cannot see it. NIBRI has touched life in various forms, and you continue to see NIBRI. Our research is not in theory, no. You see it practically in terms of a product appearing. That is what NIBRI has been doing. And the idea is that we are going to take our time to explain. My minister, relax, you are in safe hand. I will tell you more about NIBRI. Once again, you are welcome. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the DG, for that welcome address. We have some guests that are standing. Please, maybe staff, just try and get the place in our spirit of hospitality. Let's allow the invited guests to come and have a seat, please. They are standing and we're sitting. It's not good for the image of the institute. Okay. Please Please, especially those of the second row, please, if you just try and stand up. Although I see some directors and some senior staff that are there, please just give them and let's stand up so that they could have their seats. Thank you very much. Professor Samson Duma, it's once again time to call upon you to come and give an overview of maybe activities before we go into the other segments. A round of applause for Professor Samson Duma.
I'm trying to look at my watch, look at the audience, and see how many minutes do I have, so that I try to capture what we are supposed to do. Today we have the privilege of having our minister. Permit me to acknowledge the presence of the brain behind Presidential Order Number 5, who is our SA technical to the minister. Once again, engineer, you are welcome. We are happy to have you around. We are proud of your work, especially the Presidential Order Number 5. Anything NIBRI is doing, our keyword is always Presidential Order Number 5. Local content. How do we sell local content to people? So the idea for today is just an overview of what we have been doing in NIBRI. For people to know, we want to sell NIBRI. For people to patronize NIBRI and see what we're doing. NIBRI precisely was established in 1977, but we started operation in 1978. Precisely on 1st of April 1978, that is when NIBRI was established. And we were established to conduct research in area of road and building. So any research you are doing in areas of road and building, you are talking about NIBRI mandate. NIBRI has 9 departments. 5 is services, 4 is core research department. And what are the research departments we are talking about? Building, road, materials, and applied sciences. Building, 1. Road, 2. Engineering materials, 3. Applied science, 4 research department. While the services are planning information, consultancy, admin, procurement, and which one is missing? Finance and accounting. Thank you very much. 5 services and 4 research core department. We have a vision and we have a mission, and basically is geared towards making life comfortable by use of local content. NIBRI function can easily be summarized. Even if you can forget everything I'm going to tell you, remember this. It can be surprised. Capacity building to conduct applied research in building in the construction sector. Capacity building, ability to construct research basically in road, building, and general construction sector. This is it. NIBRI has about 11 mandates. Anything you are doing that has to do with local content, you are talking about NIBRI. Local construction, local design of roads, road safety, transportation scheme, design, different classes of engineering materials, consultancy, anything that has to do with local content, you are talking about NIBRI. NIBRI is located in 8 different centers. Each of the 6 geopolitical zones, you have the presence of NIBRI. The location you go that NIBRI does not exist. We are everywhere. In the east, we are in Newi. My minister, if you go to Newi, you'll see our office. We are not renting. It's our personal building. We build it using our local technology. We are not renting in Enugu. In southwest, we have a very big land in Ota. 79 hectares of land. That is where the office of NIBRI is located, opposite Covenant University. In south-south, we are in Uyo. Southeast, we are in Newi. North central, we are in Jos. Northwest is in Kano. And northeast, we are in Gombe. These are areas of our location. NIBRI has about 9 laboratories, 9 standard laboratories. And every year we buy equipment. Our aim is to become the best center of excellence as far as laboratory and experiment is concerned. We want universities to be coming to carry out research. That is our